or when we start coming up with our hard shell insects, that's where we start getting some problems. And probably growing cucurbits, squash, zucchini, pumpkins are some of the most difficult ones to grow because of those hard shelled insects. And the number one, first one I can always think of is this one right here, which our tape started coming off, is the cucumber beetle. And we have two types. We have the true one, is actually the spotted one, 12 spotted one. It can do some damage. It has a piercing, sucking mouth part like a lot of the beetles. And you can see what the damage looks like. But what really gets us though is this striped cucumber beetle. And the spotted one is actually the southern corn rootworm. But this one is also a striped cucumber beetle, which is very, very bad because it transmits this bacterial wilt. When I first ever started growing pumpkins or winter squash on a large scale, I was very disappointed the first couple of years. I'd have these beautiful vines, all of a sudden they just start wilting. You thought they were drought stressed. It had to do some reading and asking, and found out what was happening is I had bacterial wilt that came from that striped cucumber beetle. And how many times have we saw this? Beautiful vines all of a sudden start wilting, and the reason is the bacteria makes a kind of a pus that plugs up the vascular system, and that's why they go down like this. Often you also see a plant that's singularly it's gone, but unless we've done something, what's happened, those beetles have fed on that one and carried the bacteria to the next ones, and within a couple of weeks we'll start seeing symptoms. I'm never so disappointed when I go out into a cucumber field to start seeing signs of wilt. We can't emphasize sanitation enough. Cleaning up fields. I know we're also working with soil health, but what do you do if you have infected plants? You gotta get rid of them. You've got to either compost them or burn them or do something. I know last year we had a lot of tomato diseases, so we made sure we got all of our tomato vines off and done something with because of that reason. For cucumber beetles, if you grow plants with straw, you can kind of avoid those because that helps take care of those. However, when you have straw, you harbor squash bugs, and that causes problems also because they can really come in high numbers. I was just looking at some squash that we had growing, and there were hundreds of them, little nymphs. And not only can they damage the plant, but they can damage the quality of the fruit. Those and stink bugs both. I've never seen so much damage in the fall on our winter squash or our pumpkins coming from these type of insects. And just a while ago, I was out looking at that one, and I found on one plant, I found 5 leaves that had eggs on them. And eggs, when you're out in your field, I always look for eggs on the plant. Sometimes they're underneath, sometimes they're on top. But whether it's squash bugs, stink bugs, or cucumber beetles, they all kind of look the same. Now, what do you do when you see these eggs? I squash them. I don't want to pick the leaf off, because pick the leaf off, then I've lost some of my photosynthesis. There were already hundreds, as I said, squash bugs on these already, so this wouldn't be any hundreds or more that could go to other plants. So they can do a lot of damage very, very quickly. I saw one person take duct tape, wrap it around their hand, and pull them up and squash them that way. Then what can we do? If you get on the web, you can get a list of plants within the cucumber family that are more attracted by cucumber beetles and squash bugs than others. And one of the main ones is Blue Hubbard. Blue Hubbard, they love Blue Hubbard. They also like Curry Hubbard, which is kind of a red Blue Hubbard type crop. And also you could use Buttercup. Now, has anybody ever grown Blue Hubbard? It's kind of like zucchini. You can get too many really fast. Like, what do you do with a winter squash this big that's not that good to start with? But so you could go with a Buttercup, something that maybe has a little more marketable crop to it. But what you want to do is that you want to use them as your trap crop. So you want 2 weeks before you plant your market crop, you want to plant your perimeter including the front and the back, with these blue Hubbard or red Hubbard or buttercup. What the idea is that they'll be attracted to them first. And we see these on the outside, and when they're blooming, they're really attracted to them. They're attracted to them to start with, but then when the blooms start, there's even more compounds that get released, and they're really attracted to them. So if you just do that, you can buy some time. You can buy some time that the squash bugs and cucumber beetles will stay there, enjoy those, and give you time to set on some fruit for yourself. Or you can try to control them once you get them in that trap crop. Now, some people talk about burning them, flaming them. Well, that's a one-shot deal because you killed your plant. You could take your neem oil or your pyrethrins. Your pyrethrins are naturally occurring insecticides from chrysanthemums. Now, what the deal is on them is they paralyze the insect. They don't kill it. And what the synthetic ones do, they add another compound in it that goes ahead and finishes them off. But what you just hope is that you paralyze them long enough that they starve to death. And that's how we do it. So if you did multiple applications, you could do that in your border row. The other thing is continually have some new plants planted there. We plant ours on 2-foot centers, maybe you plant them on 3-foot centers, with the idea in a few weeks after that you plant another one so you always have something growing there. Now what we've talked about for a time is can we suck those things out? So we bought one of these. Terry bought one of these. He uses it for his pollinator work. He uses a big tube for that because he doesn't want to kill them too bad. But we can actually suck some of the insects off. Now, it doesn't do as good as you think it might do. But it does have some suction, but like any battery operated device, it doesn't have as much as a good old electric cord. I think something like that, you could really get some good suction, but you could use that. Another thing that we could do in addition to the trap crop is to put up these row covers. And what this would do, this again would buy us some time. Because as I mentioned, they're really attractive to the flower. But they're also attractive just before that. While they're growing vegetatively, we can cover them with this row cover. And once they start flowering, these are in bud stage right now. They're a little bit behind the blue Hubbard, like they should be. Once they start flowering, take the row cover off and let the insects pollinate, and then you actually could put them back once you get enough. Or you could just do it every day type deal. That's a little more labor intensive, but this is a way that you could, in addition with your trap cropping, buy you some more time.